Damaged Goods 2.
Right.
Presented by PWJ.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a 5-way massacre match for the massacre title.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a completely ridiculous match in terms of there was ladders, tables, chairs.
Man, it was everything.
It was everything. Bodies was just everywhere.
Yep.
And you seemed pretty comfortable around all those situations.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Are you a big fan of that like style of match?
So this is, shout outs to Pro Wrestling Junkies. But a lot of people don't know. Like if you know, you know what I'm saying? But like I actually grew up, watching WWE, watching TNA. But like somewhere down that line, I ended up following deathmatch wrestling.
Okay.
Like in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I found out about Ring of Honor, I would say around 2008, because they used to always come down to 34th Street, Hammerstein Ballroom, Grand Ballroom. So one day I went to a show, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I didn't know none of these guys. I would get like, actually, I'm lying. I knew Bryan Danielson based off like the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazines. Like, who's this guy? He's the best in the world or whatever.
Right.
Somewhere down the line, I found out, okay, I was doing my history, going back, watching the old Ring of Honor shows. Somewhere down the line, they had a feud with CZW, Ring of Honor versus CZW. Mm-hmm. Through that feud, I found out about CZW. I'm like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
This is different. Like, they're using glass and light tubes. So I'm like, okay. I found out about like the backyard wrestling game, so like Sick Nick Mondo and all these guys. So I'm like, okay. So long story short, I'm like, I'm really getting into this. I'm getting into the feuds. And one feud that stuck out for me was Danny Havoc versus Sami Callihan, that feud they had back in CZW. And Sami Callihan actually stood out to me. Like, that was one of my favorite wrestlers at that point. You know what I'm saying? Because he was, first of all, his promo's phenomenal, but he could wrestle, like technical wrestle, do all that stuff, but also he could dial it up and go to, the deathmatch stuff. So I was like, this is interesting, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is more, you're doing more stuff than what ECW was doing and stuff. So it's like, I was always a fan of that proficient, that wrestler, you know what I'm saying? Like a Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam could wrestle, but he could also do like the hardcore stuff. Right. So I actually did want my style to mimic that, you know what I'm saying? And thankfully, I've learned early, in wrestling that I do have a high pain tolerance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good for that, right?
I do have a high pain tolerance, and yeah, man, I'm usually the type of guy, like, if I'm in like a match like that, if it's a hardcore match, a ladder, steel cage match, I'm thinking about spots for the other guy to do to me.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I know what I could do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking about guys like, oh, how about I'll go to the top and you like give me a power bomb from here, or like maybe can I go through the table? You know what I'm saying? That's me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that is, but like, it's just, it's exciting to me. You know what I'm saying? So.
It's funny that you bring that up, because in that match, you get hit with a crazy sunset flip power bomb from the top of a ladder through a table.
Yep.
Was that your idea then?
Yep.
Yeah.
And shout outs to Gabriel Sky. Yeah. Me and him, I feel like that's one of definitely probably like one of my top 3 opponents. Like, we wrestled at least 10 times throughout the years, and we actually did that spot previously at a Remarkable show. Okay. We had a 3 Stages of Hell match. The first match, normal pinfall. Second match was tables, and the last one was ladder for the Remarkable Championship. And I was like, you know what? Like, one of my favorite matches of all time was Eddie Guerrero versus Rob Van Dam when they did that. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. We could do it. I know I could do it. You know what I'm saying? So it just happened. And then when I found out I was on the Pro Wrestling Junkie show, I was like, okay, I don't think he was in that match at the time. I think he was like a last minute replacement. So when I found out he was in that match, I was like, rinse, repeat. You know what I'm saying? And the only difference is, and Remarkable, I didn't go through a table. This time I went through the table.
Add a little something,
Yeah.
And the next time will be through something else.
Yeah. And like I said, shout out Gabe Sky, like I love working with guys that like, okay, like for the good of the match. Like, I'm not the type, like I said, I'm not the type of person that's like gonna just call my shit. Like, I wanna have, do something that's for the good of the match. So it's like, if it's something crazy that I'm taking, if it's a guy that's like, yeah, let's do it, I'm like, I'm with it, you know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys that's with it, so, I appreciate him for that.